also said he was not injured from the accident. His parents drove to pick up their son. When they arrived at the location Brandon gave, they could not find him. Annette called him on his cell phone, and they both agreed to flash their lights to let each other know where they were. She could hear Brandon flashing the car lights, and at one point she kept saying, "We are flashing our lights, we are flashing our lights." His response to her was, "Don't you see me?" They never saw him. Frustrated, Brandon hung up on his mum, but Annette quickly called him back, apologising for getting frustrated herself. He told her he could see Lindstown's lights and he was going to walk towards town. Brandon said to meet him at Lynn's Tavern parking lot. While driving, Brian and Brandon talked via the cell phones. Brandon explained to Brian that he was going to cut through fields so it would be quicker. Along the way, he walked on gravel roads, saw 2 fence lines and heard running water. The call lasted about 47 minutes when all of a sudden Brandon yelled, "Oh, shh," he basically swore, and the call was disconnected. His father said it sounded like Brandon slipped and fell. Numerous attempts to reach Brandon's phone were unsuccessful. The phone rang each time. It was called until the next day when calls went straight to voicemail. Brandon has not had any communication with his parents since. At 6:30 a.m, Brandon's parents called police to report him missing. Police told them to wait a while because it wasn't unheard of for young males to go off the grid for a bit. However, later that day, cell phone records showed Brandon was near Porter, Minnesota, not Lind, where he found his parents. Porter sits between Canby and Marshall along Highway 68. A search began and around 12:30 p.m. Brandon's Chevrolet Lumina sedan was found about 1.5 miles north of Taunton. I'm assuming that's some type of a car. Right on the border between Lincoln, Yellow, Madison and Leon counties. There was no physical damage to the vehicle or evidence of bodily injury. It was off the side of a field approach and the vehicle was hung up. Lincoln County Sheriff Jack Bisecki told CNN, "It's sort of a sharp incline, nothing major but enough that the car would get hung up, so the wheels this wasn't